Looking back, I should have seen the signs. The late nights, the sudden need to update her wardrobe, the way she'd smile at her phone like it held secrets. But you know what? When you've built your life around trust, it's hard to see when that foundation starts to crack. My name is Andrew Marshall. I'm 39 years old, and I'm a corporate lawyer in Chicago. For 12 years, I was married to Ashley, an investigative journalist who always said truth was her religion. Funny how that turned out. The night everything changed started like any other. I was at the office, knee-deep in merger documents for a Fortune 500 client. The cleaning crew had already made their rounds, and the city lights were the only thing keeping me company. That's when my phone buzzed. 2:13 a.m. Ashley's name lit up the screen. I answered with my usual, "Hey babe, working late again?" But she didn't respond. There was rustling, distant laughter, then her voice, muffled but clear enough. "He thinks I'm covering the mayor's press conference. Poor thing." A male voice chuckled in the background. My stomach dropped. I was about to hang up when I heard it. That final whisper that would haunt me for months. "Don't leave marks this time, Danny. I have that interview tomorrow." She left a voicemail at 2 a.m., but forgot to hang up. Her final whisper revealed everything. I sat there, frozen, listening to my wife's betrayal unfold in real time. The male voice belonged to Daniel Reynolds, the city councilman she'd been investigating for her corruption expose. Ironic, isn't it? She was exposing corruption while creating her own. The voicemail lasted exactly 3 minutes and 47 seconds. Long enough to hear zippers, whispers, and the sound of my marriage dying. When it finally ended, I didn't move. Couldn't. My legal mind immediately started cataloging evidence, while my heart tried to process what I'd just heard. I played it again, then again, each time, hoping I'd misheard, misunderstood. But lawyers don't misinterpret evidence, especially when it's this clear. By 3 a.m., I made my decision. No dramatic confrontations. No begging for explanations. I was going to handle this like I handled my cases, methodically, strategically, and without mercy. Ashley thought she was the investigator in our marriage. She was about to learn that 12 years of corporate law had taught me how to build airtight cases. And this time, it was personal. The morning after the voicemail, I did something I'd never done in my career. I took a personal day, called my assistant, told her I had a family emergency. Wasn't exactly a lie. Ashley came home around 10 a.m., still wearing yesterday's clothes, now wrinkled. She kissed my cheek like nothing had happened, smelling of hotel soap and someone else's cologne. "Baby, I'm exhausted," she yawned. That press conference ran way over. Had to fact-check everything before filing the story. I looked at her, really looked. 12 years together, and I'd never noticed how easily the lies rolled off her tongue. "Coffee?" I offered, keeping my voice steady. "God, yes," she said, collapsing onto the bar stool. "You're a lifesaver." As I poured her coffee, I studied her like I were an opposing counsel. Her phone sat beside her, screen facing down, something she'd started doing recently. Her wedding ring was twisted slightly, like it had been taken off and hastily put back on. Her neck had a faint red mark just below her ear, a mark I hadn't made. "How's the corruption investigation going?" I asked casually. She stiffened for just a second. "Good. Really good. Daniel Reynolds is dirty as they come. Can't wait to expose him." "Funny you should mention Reynolds," I said, sliding the coffee toward her. "His office called the firm yesterday. Seems he's looking for legal representation." Ashley's hand froze halfway to her mug. "What? Why would he call your firm?" Said he'd heard good things about our defense team. Wants to get ahead of some nasty rumors. I watched her squirm. Something about an affair with a journalist. "That's ridiculous," she said too quickly. "He's just trying to discredit me." I pulled out my phone, opened a voicemail, and placed it on the counter between us. "Is that what this is? Discrediting you?" Her face went through a spectrum of emotions: confusion, recognition, panic, then something else. Defiance. The voicemail played. Her voice, clear as day. "Don't leave marks this time, Danny. I have that interview tomorrow." When it ended, she didn't cry, didn't apologize. Instead, she straightened her spine and said, "So you were spying on me?" I laughed. Not the reaction she expected. "Ashley, you called me. You forgot to hang up. The only person who betrayed your privacy is you. Andy, it's not what you think, Dash." "Stop." I cut her off. "I'm a lawyer, Ashley. Don't insult me with excuses. I want facts. How long? She hesitated, then shrugged. 6 months. Maybe 7. Why? You want the truth? She asked, suddenly angry. You were always at the office. Always working. Danny made me feel alive again. Alive. I repeated. Is that what we're calling it now? She stood up. What do you want me to say, Andrew? That I'm sorry? Fine, I'm sorry. But you pushed me away. No, I said firmly. You chose this. You chose him. And now you get to choose where you're staying tonight, because it won't be here. Her eyes widened. You can't kick me out of my own house. Actually, I said, pulling out a folder I prepared at 4 a.m., I can. This house is in my name. Inherited from my grandfather. You signed a prenup, remember? In case of infidelity, you leave with what you brought in. She grabbed the folder, flipped through the pages. You had this ready? You were planning this. I was hoping I'd never need it, I replied. But I learned from the best. Always be prepared for betrayal. Ashley's mask finally cracked. Andrew, please. We can work this out. No, we can't. Your corruption story? I'm giving you a bigger one. Corporate merger between Reynolds' company and offshore investors. Illegal campaign contributions. Enough to end his career. I paused. Consider it my parting gift. She looked stunned. You destroy him? For revenge? No, I corrected. For justice. Something you used to believe in. Ashley packed her bags in silence. But I knew she was plotting. After 12 years, I could read her like a deposition transcript. She was going to fight, not for our marriage, but for assets, reputation, revenge. My brother Chris, a psychologist, stopped by that afternoon. One look at the half-empty closet and my face, and he knew. Finally caught her? He asked. I played him the voicemail. His jaw clenched. I should have told you sooner, Andy. She came on to me at the Christmas party last year. I thought she was just drunk. You kept that from me. I was trying to protect you. Thought it was a one-time mistake. I wasn't angry at Chris. I was angry at myself for being blind. What else don't I know? Chris hesitated. Rachel called me last month. Ashley's sister. She's been in love with you since college, Andy. Said she tried warning you with anonymous notes. My mind raced. Those unsigned letters in my briefcase, warning me to look closer at late meetings. Rachel. That evening, I called Rachel. I got your notes, I said simply. Silence. Then, I'm sorry, Andrew. I should have been direct. I just didn't want to hurt you. You tried to help. That means something. She sighed. She's at the Hilton downtown. With him. My sister never deserved you. The next morning, I filed for divorce. But I wasn't just ending a marriage. I was starting a war. Ashley had underestimated me, thinking I'd quietly disappear. She forgot that I'd built my career destroying liars on the stand. My first move was strategic. I called Tom Bradley, the newspaper editor. I have a story that'll win you a Pulitzer. Council member Reynolds, corruption, embezzlement, and an affair with one of your star reporters. Bradley whistled. Ashley, you're sure? I have evidence. Voice recordings, hotel receipts, everything. But there's a catch. You run the corruption story, not the affair. I want her professional credibility destroyed, not her personal life. Why protect her? I'm not protecting her. I'm protecting myself. High road wins in court. Bradley agreed. Within 48 hours, Reynolds was front-page news. Ashley's byline was conspicuously absent from the story. Her editor had questions she couldn't answer without incriminating herself. Reynolds, desperate to save himself, threw Ashley under the bus. Claimed she'd seduced him for information, that their relationship compromised his ability to serve the public. Classic political spin. Ashley came to my office, furious. You did this. You destroyed my career. I looked up from my desk. No, Ashley. You did this the moment you chose to mix pleasure with profession. I just made sure the truth came out. I'll fight you in court, she spat. Take everything you have. Try it, I replied calmly. I've been preparing for this moment since I heard your whisper. She stormed out, but I knew this was far from over. War had been declared, and I intended to win. The divorce proceedings were brutal. Ashley hired Sheila Morrison, known as the Ball Crusher, in legal circles. I represented myself. First mistake Morrison made was underestimating me. In court, Ashley painted herself as the neglected wife of a workaholic. Morrison presented texts showing my late nights, missed dinners, canceled vacations. When it was my turn, I calmly introduced evidence. Bank statements showing Ashley's secret account. GPS data from her car. The voicemail that started it all. Your Honor, I said, my client, that is myself, may have worked long hours, but he never betrayed his vows. Mrs. Marshall not only committed adultery, but compromised journalistic integrity and potentially committed corporate espionage. Ashley's face went pale. She hadn't known I'd discovered her feeding information to Reynolds' campaign donors. The judge, a stern woman named Carter, listened carefully. Mrs. Marshall, did you accept payment for information related to your husband's law firm? Ashley looked at Morrison, who remained silent. I may have received consulting fees. I produced the contracts. These consulting fees totaled $200,000 over 6 months, paid by shell companies linked to Reynolds donors. Money laundering, Your Honor. The courtroom erupted. Morrison requested a recess. During the break, Rachel found me in the hallway. Andy, I'm sorry about everything. I studied her. Steady eyes, genuine concern. You tried to warn me. I should have done more. You did what you could. Coffee sometime. When this is over. She smiled. I'd like that. Back in court, Ashley crumbled. The judge ruled in my favor. Full asset retention. No alimony. Ashley left with her clothes and car. Nothing more. But the real victory came a week later. The Bar Association opened an investigation into Morrison for advising a client to conceal evidence. Reynolds resigned in disgrace. Ashley's newspaper fired her for ethical violations. I sat in my office, looking at the city skyline. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. Proud of you. Dinner Friday. I replied, yes. Time to start fresh. As I packed up for the day, I realized something. Ashley's betrayal hadn't broken me. It had shown me what true strength looked like, not in avoiding pain, but in facing it head-on and coming out stronger. The voicemail that destroyed my marriage had also saved my life, steering me toward a better future with someone who actually cared. 6 months after the divorce, I walked into Morton's Steakhouse to meet Rachel. We'd been dating for 3 months, taking things slow, letting trust rebuild naturally. She understood what I'd been through. She'd watch her sister destroy it. Rachel stood when she saw me, elegant in a blue dress. You're late, counselor. Traffic, I smiled. Or maybe I'm just savoring the anticipation. We ordered wine, talked about her new job at the Tribune. She'd replaced Ashley as their investigative reporter, earning the position through talent, not schemes. I have news, she said, setting down her glass. Reynolds is writing a tell-all book. Claims Ashley blackmailed him. I nearly choked on my wine. Seriously, gets better. He's saying she orchestrated everything. The affair, the corruption story, all to advance her career. Claims he was the victim. I laughed. That's rich. What's Ashley's response? Radio silence. She's working at some small paper in Iowa. Last I heard, she's dating the editor. I shook my head. Some patterns never change. Rachel reached across the table, took my hand. I have something to tell you, Andrew. Something I should have said years ago. My heart rate picked up. What's that? I've loved you since college. Watched you marry my sister, supported you both, died inside when she hurt you. But I never acted on it. Until now. I squeezed her hand. I know. Chris told me. But I needed to figure things out first. And now I see what real love looks like. It's patient, honest, puts the other person first. Everything Ashley wasn't. Rachel's eyes glistened. So what happens next? I pulled out a small box. I was thinking we could start with this. Her hand flew to her mouth. Andrew. Rachel Thompson, will you help me build a better future? Tears streamed down her face as she nodded. Yes. 1,000 times yes. The restaurant erupted in applause. As I slipped the ring on her finger, I realized something profound. Betrayal had led me to true love. Ashley's voicemail hadn't just revealed her deception. It had opened the door to genuine happiness. Rachel leaned across the table and kissed me. Promise me something? Anything. If I ever leave you a voicemail at 2 a.m., I'll make sure it's just to say I love you. I laughed, pulling her close. Deal. But I don't think we'll need voicemails. We're going to do this right. No secrets, no lies, just truth. And we did. Our wedding was small, intimate, just family and close friends at the Chicago Botanic Garden. Chris served as my best man, beaming with pride. Ashley wasn't invited, obviously, but we heard she tried to crash it. Security turned her away at the gate. During the reception, Chris pulled me aside. Remember that Christmas party where Ashley hit on me? How could I forget? I never told you the whole story. She said something that night. Andrew's too good for his own good. He never suspect me of anything. I processed this. You knew all along. I suspected. But without proof, what could I say? You were happy. Or I thought you were. I clapped his shoulder. Water under the bridge, brother. You were looking out for me. Rachel appeared, radiant and white. Everything okay? Perfect, I said, pulling her close. Just closing old chapters. The honeymoon in Tuscany was magical. No phones, no drama, just us exploring vineyards and ancient streets. One evening, watching the sunset from our villa, Rachel turned to me. I have a confession. My stomach tightened. What's that? I knew about Ashley's affair before you did. I saw them once at a hotel bar. I should have told you immediately. I studied her face. Genuine remorse. Fear of judgment. Why didn't you? I was scared. Scared you'd shoot the messenger. Scared you'd hate me for destroying your marriage. So you sent anonymous notes instead? She nodded. Cowardly, I know. I took her hands. No. Smart. You gave me the tools to discover the truth myself. That's what I needed. 3 years later, we had twins, Sarah and James. Ashley sent a congratulations card, trying to reconnect. I threw it away unopened. Some bridges are better burned. Rachel became a star at the Tribune, winning awards for investigative journalism. I made partner of the firm, specializing in high-profile divorces. Ironic how personal pain became professional expertise. One day, I received a package. Inside was the original voicemail recording, somehow recovered from my old phone. Ashley had sent it with a note. I'm sorry. Can we talk? I played it once more. That whisper, don't leave marks this time, Danny. Instead of pain, I felt gratitude. Without that voicemail, I'd still be married to a lie. I deleted the recording, burned the note, and went home to my real family. Rachel greeted me with a kiss. The twins ran to hug my legs. This was happiness. This was truth. And it all started with a voicemail at 2 a.m. The call came at midnight. I was in my study, reviewing case files, when Rachel appeared in the doorway, phone in hand. Her face was pale. It's Ashley, she said. She's in the hospital. Car accident. My first instinct was to hang up. But Rachel's eyes held something deeper. Not sympathy for her sister, but a test for me. Would I be the bigger man? I took the phone. This is Andrew. Mr. Marshall. A tired voice. This is Dr. Peterson at Northwestern Memorial. Your ex-wife listed you as her emergency contact. She's asking for you. She's not my wife anymore. I understand. But she's in critical condition. No other family in state. I looked at Rachel. She nodded slowly. Go, she mouthed. The hospital smelled of antiseptic and regret. Ashley lay in ICU, machines beeping, face bruised. When she saw me, tears formed. Andrew, she whispered. I'm sorry. Save your strength. No. Need to say this. I was wrong. About everything. I pulled up a chair. Ashley, you don't need a dash. Please. Let me finish. She coughed, winced. Reynolds blackmailed me. Had photos from college, things that would have ruined my career. Made me spy on you. I sat back, processing. You're saying the affair was coerced. No, that was real. I'm not innocent. But the corporate espionage, that was him. She gripped my hand weakly. I have proof. Safety deposit box. Keys in my apartment. Why tell me now? Because I'm dying, Andrew. Internal bleeding. Doctors can't stop it. Her eyes met mine. I destroyed us. But I won't let him destroy you too. I felt Rachel's presence before I saw her. She followed me, stood in the doorway listening. Give him the key, Rachel said firmly. Make one thing right before you go. Ashley nodded, pointed to her purse. Inside, I found a small key with a tag. First National, Box 472. The evidence will clear your firm, Ashley whispered. Reynolds was planning to sue for defamation. This stops him. I stood up. Thank you, Andrew. Her voice was fading. Tell Rachel. She got the better man. She deserves him. Those were her last words. Ashley died at 3:17 a.m., almost exactly 3 years after leaving that fateful voicemail. The safety deposit box contained everything. Emails proving Reynolds orchestrated the espionage, threatened Ashley's career, manipulated the entire situation. I turned it over to the FBI. Reynolds was arrested 2 weeks later. 20 years for corruption, blackmail, and conspiracy. At his sentencing, I sat in a gallery with Rachel. "Do you forgive her?" Rachel asked quietly. "I forgive her for finding peace and truth at the end. The rest? That's between her and whatever comes next." Rachel squeezed my hand. "You're a good man, Andrew Marshall. I try to be. For you. For us." We left the courthouse hand in hand, ready to face whatever came next together. 5 years after Ashley's death, I stood in my corner office, looking out over Chicago's skyline. Marshall & Associates had become the city's premier family law firm. We specialized in complex divorces involving corporate espionage. My personal experience turned professional expertise. Rachel knocked, entered with coffee. "Your 10 a.m. is here. Remember her?" I turned. Standing in my doorway was Monica Sullivan, ex-wife of my former rival. The years hadn't been kind. Stress had etched lines around her eyes. "Mrs. Sullivan," I said, "how can I help you?" She sat down heavily. "It's happening again. Michael, he's running the same play. New company, new mistress, new victim. You have proof." She pulled out a phone. Voice message. He forgot to hang up. The irony was sharp enough to cut. I listened to Sullivan, heard him whispering to some young executive about merger plans, about leaving Monica with nothing. "I'll take your case," I said. "Pro bono." "Why?" "After what happened with your wife." "Because patterns repeat unless someone breaks them. And I'm very good at breaking patterns." The case was swift, brutal. Sullivan had hidden assets and offshore accounts, used shell companies to funnel money. But I'd learned from the master. Ashley had taught me every trick in the book. In court, I presented evidence that destroyed Sullivan's empire. Bank records, emails, testimonies from former mistresses he'd similarly betrayed. The judge awarded Monica everything: the house, the cars, majority stake in the new company. Sullivan approached me after the verdict, face red with rage. "You ruined me." "No," I replied calmly. "You ruined yourself. I just made sure everyone saw it. This isn't over, Marshall. It is for you. The SEC is waiting outside." Something about insider trading. He paled, turned to run, was immediately arrested. That night, Rachel and I celebrated our 5th anniversary. The twins were at Chris's house, giving us rare alone time. "You know what today is?" she asked over champagne. "Our anniversary. 8 years since that voicemail. 8 years since Ashley accidentally saved us both. I considered this." "You think it was accidental?" Rachel smiled. "I think sometimes the universe course corrects. That voicemail was your wake-up call." My phone buzzed. A client needing help. Another spouse discovering betrayal. "Go," Rachel said. "Help them find their truth." I kissed her. "You're my truth." As I left for the office, I reflected on the journey. A 2 a.m. voicemail had shattered my world, but from those pieces, I'd built something stronger. Love, justice, purpose, all born from betrayal's ashes. Sometimes the worst moments aren't endings. They're beginnings in disguise. And sometimes a whispered secret becomes the loudest truth of all. I helped others find their way through darkness because I'd walked that path myself. And every case I won honored the lesson Ashley's final whisper taught me. Truth always finds its way to light. 20 years had passed since that voicemail shattered my world. I stood at the podium of Northwestern University's law school, about to deliver the commencement address. In the audience, Rachel beamed with pride. Our twins, now college graduates themselves. "Future lawyers," I began, "you'll hear a lot about truth and justice. But let me tell you about a voicemail that changed everything." I told them my story, not the sanitized version, but the raw truth. The 2 a.m. call, Ashley's whisper, the aftermath. The auditorium was silent. That voicemail taught me 3 things. First, truth has a way of revealing itself, often in unexpected ways. Second, justice isn't just about winning cases. It's about protecting the vulnerable from those who abuse trust. And third, sometimes our greatest wounds become our greatest strengths. After the speech, a young woman approached. "Mr. Marshall, I'm Jessica Reynolds, Daniel Reynolds' granddaughter." My heart skipped. "Another Reynolds? I wanted to thank you," she continued. "My grandfather's crimes nearly destroyed our family. But your actions forced us to confront the truth. I'm here today because you showed me that justice matters." She was graduating top of her class, heading to work for the Innocence Project. Sometimes redemption takes generations. That evening, Rachel and I hosted a celebration at our home. Chris arrived with his wife. Our children gathered with their partners. We built the family I'd always wanted. Remember when you first played me that voicemail? Chris asked, raising his glass. I thought you'd never recover. I almost didn't, I admitted. But Rachel showed me that trust could be rebuilt. Rachel squeezed my hand. You rebuilt yourself, Andrew. I just held the ladder. Late that night, after everyone left, I found an old box in my study. Inside, carefully preserved, was Ashley's final letter, written the night she died. Andrew, it read, by the time you read this, I'll be gone. I know I have no right to ask for forgiveness, but I want you to know that voicemail wasn't entirely an accident. Some part of me wanted you to hear, wanted to end the lies. I was too weak to do it directly. You deserve better. Rachel deserves you. Be happy. Love fully. That's my final wish for you. I'd never shown Rachel this letter. Now I brought it to her. She read it quietly, then looked up. You knew. I suspected. Ashley was many things, but she wasn't careless. That voicemail was her way out. Does it change how you feel? No. It confirms what I've always believed. Even in our darkest moments, some part of us reaches for truth. We burned the letter together, watching the past turn to ash. Outside, dawn was breaking, a new day, built on foundations of honesty and trust. You know what I realized? I said, that voicemail wasn't just Ashley's confession. It was the universe's way of setting me free. Rachel kissed me. Free to find me. Free to find us. I corrected, pulling her close as the sun rose on another day of the life we'd built from the ashes of betrayal. The invitation arrived on cream-colored paper, Daniel Reynolds Memorial Library dedication. 25 years after his imprisonment, his family was trying to rehabilitate his image. They wanted me to speak. Absolutely not, Rachel said, reading over my shoulder. They have some nerve. But I saw an opportunity. Actually, I think I should go. The ceremony was grand. Politicians, judges, media. Jessica Reynolds, now a respected civil rights attorney, introduced me. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrew Marshall, the man who brought truth to light. I approached the podium, feeling the weight of history. Daniel Reynolds built this library with money earned through corruption, blackmail, and betrayal. But buildings, like people, can be redeemed. I told them about Ashley's deathbed confession, about the evidence that proved Reynolds' manipulation. But then I pivoted. However, this library now stands as a testament to transformation. Jessica Reynolds has turned her family's shame into purpose. She's used her inheritance to fund legal aid for victims of corporate crime. I unveiled my announcement. The Marshall Foundation would match all donations to transform the library into a center for legal ethics education. Because sometimes, I concluded, our darkest chapters write the brightest futures. Afterward, an elderly woman approached. Mr. Marshall, I'm Elizabeth Sullivan, Michael Sullivan's mother. My body tensed, but her eyes were kind. I wanted you to know, your work saved more than just your clients. It saved my family from continuing down a destructive path. My grandson Jake is now teaching ethics at Harvard Law. Cycles of redemption, spinning through generations. That night, Rachel and I sat in our garden, surrounded by family. Our twins had followed different paths. Sarah became a journalist like her aunt, but one committed to truth. James chose psychology like Uncle Chris, specializing in recovery from betrayal trauma. You know what's funny? James said, half my clients come to me because they heard your story, Dad. That voicemail has helped more people than you know. Sarah nodded. I'm writing a book about it. The whisper that roared. About how one moment of revealed truth can ripple through decades. I looked around at my family, built not on lies, but on radical honesty. We'd made it our foundation, our legacy. Rachel raised her glass. To that 2 a.m. voicemail. To the whisper that changed everything. I added. As we toasted, my phone buzzed. A new client. Mr. Marshall, I just received a disturbing voicemail from my spouse. I smiled, showing Rachel the message. Another soul needing guidance through the darkness. Will you take the case? Of course. It's what I do. Because that's what Ashley's whispered betrayal had taught me. We all deserve truth, even when it hurts. And sometimes, the most painful revelations lead to the most beautiful destinations. I kissed Rachel, hugged my children, and felt profound gratitude for that long-ago voicemail. It hadn't just exposed a lie. It had revealed the truth of who I could become. Some whispers destroy, others create. And sometimes, if we're lucky, they do both, clearing the ground for something magnificent to grow.